to recognize our students who have been reclassified as English Fluent Proficient. We have one student who is here tonight with us, Mr. Abner Cruz, and his prince, an even bigger accomplished. The norm is third, fourth, maybe fifth grade. So that the student has done this so quickly, we want to recognize him tonight. So I'm going to invite his principal up, Ms. Tiffany Doherty. Perfect, look at that. And she's going to take it from here.
So I wanted to let you know that our friend Abner's family received their invitation to the last board meeting the day after the board meeting. And we were so sad not to see him there. So just wanted to say that Abner is doing such a great job in school. And he is learning and producing English so well. He also is a very fluent and beautiful Spanish speaker. So I'm very impressed with everything that Abner could do. And I have his certificate, Abner.
If I can make a quick comment, Abner, I am so proud of you. I only can speak English. I am not bilingual. So I'm very envious of you, and congratulations. So as big as I am, you are bigger. Congratulations.
Our next public comment is on the topic of health benefits for HSC employees by Michael.
Hi, my name is Mike Ephraim. I'm a teacher here and a community member and a parent of students that have gone through our schools. Thank you. First of all, I want to thank you for a quick completion of negotiations with the teachers union and the raise that you are ratifying today. I wanted to also bring forward information about health benefits for the people who are employed in this district, because it's been a concern for a while, and it wasn't until a couple months ago that an employee came to me and said that I was hired and I was told in the interview process that we have good benefits. And I'm like, okay, maybe the board doesn't really know what the benefit structure is here, and maybe don't have a full understanding of what we have in front of us. Okay, so, and I just want to say that I grew up and my dad had good benefits, and I thought it was great benefits. He got his employer paid for 100%, and I understand that the situation, our economics have changed, and health insurance and all that has changed. Fully understand that. But 100% benefits, fully paid by the employer, that's what I consider good benefits, right? And I'm sure thumbs up, right? If you think 100% fully employer paid benefits is good benefits. Yeah, would you agree? Okay. So then I'm going to go down the list and say, well, how about 90%? Thumbs up? Yeah. Good benefits? Yeah. Employer paid. 80%? Thumbs up? Right? And we can go down the percents, but what's alarming that maybe you don't know is that if you're a family and you're getting benefits through Kaiser at the level that my family did when I was younger, the district currently pays 39%, and the employee pays 61% of their health benefits, and it's well over $1,700 a month out of their paycheck each month. And that came because one of my colleagues came to me whose husband lost his job and had to switch their family benefits over to ours. And it was a shock to her that it was going to be $1,700 out of her paycheck every month. So I'm going to give you a handout because I'm a spreadsheet kind of guy, and I'm going to give you a handout of the breakdown of all the benefit structures and how much what percent HUSD pays. And I would like to be part of a creative solution to solve this problem. Okay, I'm a problem solver, math teacher, computer science teacher, And I've already spoken to and networked within the HSD staff about how we might go about solving this in the benefits of all of us here, including the district as a whole. So there's a spreadsheet printout of each benefit category and how much the district pays, how much the employee has to pay, and what percentage. Thank you.
Moving on to the approval of consent agenda. The purpose of the consent agenda is to expedite governing board action on all consent agenda items, which do not typically require discussion. Items pulled from thereby excluded from the consent agenda will be acted upon individually. Any items can be removed, deleted, or held for discussion within the agenda at the request of the board member. Anybody interested to approve that consent agenda? All in favor? Public comments on agenda items. Moving on to discussion report action items. 12.1, student learning, installation of a peace pole at the Healdsburg High School.
All right, I'm Francisco Manriquez, principal of Healdsburg High School, and today we do have, I believe, some students that are going to be presenting the Peace Pole project that is hopefully going to be going into effect here at the high school. So if they're here, we'd like to welcome them up.
Is the Interact Club not here?
I don't think they're here today. So, yeah. Okay.
All right.
It's a different group. So. Okay.
I would like the kids to come present to the board about the Peace Pole, but I'll let you, I'll tell you what it is essentially. There's a Rotary, or countywide Rotary initiative, Rotary Club initiative to push peace poles on school sites. And what they are, it's like a 4 or 5 foot pole that says may peace prevail on earth in 4 different languages around the pole, symbolizing world peace. So the Interact Club at the high school, which is the youth Rotary Club essentially, was behind it and wanted to ask permission from the board to be able to install them at our high school. So we were going to hear about that, but we will have them come and do another presentation on another topic. So we can move on to the next agenda item, which is our Youth Equity Project Design Team. Aaron, do you want to do some
Yeah,
introductions?
students, as I'm speaking, why don't you guys go ahead and get organized here? All right, so we're going to have a really exciting presentation here. This is our Youth Equity Project Design Team. The design team is what we're calling them now. You can see they've got these cool shirts. Important to the district that we celebrate diversity, we value, and we encourage student voice and their opinions. These students have been led by our design team coordinator, Karina Hugh. Karina is here tonight. Karina is not an employee of the district, and that's purposeful. The idea here is that the students can have conversation about their schooling system without somebody who works for the school in the room. And so tonight is our first iteration in the design team process for them to explain what they've been up to and some of their initial findings. So I'm going to go ahead and welcome our students here to the mic.
Hello, Board of Directors, staff, and audience. We are the Healdsburg High School Design Team. In today's presentation, we will be advocating for opportunities for change and improvement in our school. But first, a little bit about who we are. We were a group of students from freshmen to seniors. We were all nominated by teachers, who were asked to select students who were caring and attentive to our campus environment. While many students were nominated, the 11 of us independently chose to dedicate our time to this design team. Our team represents a wide range of cultural backgrounds, experiences, and extracurriculars. Our team alone participates in 8 different sports teams and 10 different extracurriculars, such as band, ethnic studies club, and Bring Change to Mind club. As a team, we have searched to hear diverse perspectives and points of view from different corners and cliques of our school. We pulled from personal experiences as well as anonymous stories shared with us by students on campus. Tonight we speak not as individuals, but as a team that represents the student body's collective perspectives and stories. And with that, this is the Healdsburg design team. My name is Meher Diman, and I am a sophomore.
My name is Dania Ruiz, and I'm a senior. My name is Perla Perez Lopad, and I am a junior.
My name is Ginger Lever, and I'm a freshman.
My name is Vanessa Esta, and I'm a sophomore.
My name is Brianna Cortez, and I'm a freshman.
My name is Lisa Flores, and I'm a sophomore.
My name is Ana Ferrer Scarbo, and I'm a sophomore.
My name is Cristina Rodriguez, and I'm a senior.
My name is Jordan Holland, and I'm a senior.
My name is Niles Cobb, and I'm a sophomore. To create this presentation, all of us met for 8 class periods in total, with the span of a few weeks. Sorry. We even met over Thanksgiving break, and we had actually had a staggering 100% attendance. We all committed to representing the student body. We have based our evidence on personal experiences and from our fellow peers. We orchestrated interviews to listen and observe what high school experiences looks like for the actual kids that go there. We took diverse perspectives from the students who have complicated home lives, language barriers, and learning impediments. We strive to look deeper than the average student from our interviews. We synthesize areas of improvement and shortcomings in our school system. Next semester, we hope to refine our ideas and put them into actions.
From all the interviews that we did, the key points that kept coming up were support and communication. Then, after the interviews, we did a closing circle. And the question during our closing circle was, what were the things that the board must know? And the 2 things that came up were communication and support. Students who need general support not only need a way to understand their class, but they also need a way to access their counselor and be able to interact with a supported adult, so that students can actually get a meaningful and genuine assistance in order to achieve their academic goals. Students who struggle to communicate with their teachers and who do not feel heard by staff need a way to get communication going so that they can get a better understanding of what they're learning and so that they can get better school needs. I am a junior. I have been here for 3 years. And something that I have noticed is that teachers do not always reach out to learn the real reason why their students' grades are falling. They don't really try to figure out that why, and I personally think that why is very important. Personally, for me, it is sometimes just a simple reason that I do not understand the curriculum. And sometimes it is also the fact that people go through many things, like grieving, which is something that I have gone through. Last year, I had to take all my finals, and I was grieving. The teachers did not really reach out. And I went through all of that alone. So I think it is something so important. And I think that is why teachers really need to be there and try to be supportive and reach out to their students. Thank you.
be talking about connections among students. Students who need to meet new people need a way to connect with their fellow peers to create connections and relationships so that they feel like they are a part of the community. This matters because students don't just care about school, they also care about getting to know other people. Think about the people that you love to be around, how they make you feel loved and appreciated. Now imagine if you didn't have anyone to make you feel that way. Picture how a student must feel arriving at school in the morning and not having anyone to talk to in the halls during class or lunch, or sometimes even outside of school. That student would slowly start to feel solitary and lonely and start to dislike school. Zoom has not helped with this. Zoom also left an impact on all of us, especially the students, because they started to drift apart, and it impacted their abilities to connect with their peers. And although we managed to persevere through these tough times, students were still impacted and had trouble reconnecting with their friends. For instance, in one of our interviews, we discovered that a student athlete feels like they don't fit in with other students due to being stereotyped because of their appearance. If a student feels like they don't fit in, they will start to dislike school, which will affect the way that they focus and participate on their work, which leads to them not getting good grades or test scores. A method that is commonly used by teachers is to create seating charts, which is when students who don't know each other sit at a table. When teachers do this, they expect the students to just instantly connect and know each other and don't need a push. But the reality is, students get shy and nervous to meet new people and step out of their comfort zones. So what teachers should be doing instead is providing an assignment that that makes the students interact with each other and learn stories and share stories about what makes them them. Not only does sharing stories help bring the students together and closer, but it also helps fight off stereotypes, because now that student is no longer defined by their appearance. They are now defined by the stories that they choose to share with their classmates. Thus, a student not being able to build a relationship with their classmates not only leads them to feeling like they aren't a part of the community, but it also affects their social life and makes them dislike school and feel discouraged when it comes to focusing and participating in their work. That's why connections are so important, not just for the student's personal life, but also for their academic career. Thank you.
I'll be talking about the importance of having a supportive community on campus. And one of the main areas that we can improve in that is detention. Detention comes with a lot of stigma. It has an inherent negative connotation. It's a bad thing. Oh no, I'm in detention, I'm in trouble, I have to go to detention. But what if it didn't have to be a bad thing? School should be a positive experience, and we should strive to apply that positivity everywhere, even in detention. Currently, if a student gets detention, they can sit there quietly or do their homework. To make the time go faster, they can pick up trash around campus and help clean up a teacher's room. Now, is this productive? I say no. A detention system is meant to act as a punishment for misbehavior. The purpose is to reduce the occurrence of the behavior being punished. So you're trying to discourage bad behavior and keep the student from getting in detention again. The current system gives no incentive to stay out of detention, nor does it have a dynamic impact. Instead of encouraging reflection, it leaves the student to sit in silence. And perhaps the only incentive for the student to not get in detention again is a hatred for cleaning up. Here's what we can do instead. Detention should act as a counseling session. The student, individually, or if they want, in a group, should get to understand why they got in detention. And every student should get an attempt to explain their situation. This allows the student to feel heard and understood. From here, the staff overlooking detention will work with the student to set goals or a plan to not end up in detention again. By doing this, the students will get to reflect with a positive and more direct approach. This creates opportunities for the students to work through their issues and be more mindful of their actions. This proposed system would be more effective because you're providing students with a path to redeem themselves and an incentive to reduce negative behavior. Here's an example. A common reason why students get detention is tardies. In the current system, they might pick up some trash or sit quietly for 30 minutes and then go home. perhaps this student will end up in detention in the foreseeable future. In the proposed system, they could explain why they were late. Maybe they didn't have a ride to school. From there, the teacher overlooking detention could help set up a plan, maybe recommending taking the bus and showing them where bus stops are. The student could then reflect, taking time to find someone to carpool with, or taking the school bus. With this dynamic approach, the student has a path of action to not end up in detention as frequently. The whole idea behind the system is that we are creating a safe place for students and empowering them to do the right thing. Students should have the tools and the support to have a good high school experience. Another part of detention are unequal consequences. There are certain students in this school who get unequal consequences because of stereotypes. Based on our observations, students with particular traits often get singled out when it comes to punishment. Students who are Hispanic or Latinx, students that wear baggy clothes or have a history of getting in trouble, often face unequal consequences and worse treatment when in trouble. Here is a story of a student named Yamilet. A staff member took away her phone when she was in trouble, and they were told that they will call her parents. When she was finally released, she drove herself home and found her mother crying on the floor. The school, in fact, did not inform Yamilet's mother that she was being held in the office. Now imagine, if your child suddenly didn't come home after school and you had no way of finding them, no way of contacting them. Just imagine what was going through her mother's mind. Was her child kidnapped? Was my child hurt? Why can't I contact her? Think about the emotional trauma that caused Yamilet and her mother. No mother should ever have to go through that, and no child should ever have to see her mother like that. What's interesting is that there was another girl. She identifies as white, dresses girly, and doesn't have a past of getting in trouble. She did the same thing that Yamilet did. They called the girl's parents, and she was completely dismissed, with no consequences, not even a detention. This story goes to show the unequal treatment when it comes to holding students in the office. The school mission statement. The school mission statement is, the mission of Healdsburg High School is to create a supportive community of diverse leaders that produce independent, collaborative, and initiative, and reflects those skills and challenges of the 21st century. From this mission statement, we want to focus on the supportive community. Yamilet's story illustrates that not every student feels like they're part of a community. This means we have room for improvement, because every day there are students like Yamilet who face the lack of a supportive community when they need it the most.
When we did our interviews, a common complaint from students was that they struggled staying engaged in long class periods. We all know students learn differently, and listening to lectures for a long time can be challenging, especially for certain students, which is why we need a good mixture of lectures and interactive class assignments. When we asked the students what could keep them more engaged, they mentioned things like hands-on assignments, field trips, and educational games such as Quizlet, Kahoot, and Blooket. Sitting still for 5 to 7 classes every day can drain you. By the end of the day, everyone is struggling to focus on the lecture. This usually leads to students getting punished and kicked out of class because the teacher feels they are not paying attention, which can cause them to fall behind. If they were given alternative ways to learn, they would be more likely to stay engaged and inspired. There are already some teachers at HHS who implement these suggestions in their classroom. Ms. Calhoun, one of our math teachers, allows students to pick a project they are excited about and apply it to what we are learning with statistics. Mrs. Ruiz, one of our Spanish teachers, ties educational games into her classes very often. It allows students to stay engaged while keeping the class fast-paced. Mr. Linker, one of our English teachers, not only allows us to pick our projects, but also finds ways to relate it back to our own lives. We understand that these kinds of activities aren't possible every day, which is why we also have some other suggestions, such as playing music in class or 5-minute brain breaks. While some teachers already use these suggestions, it should be a standard thing in every classroom. Students will participate more in class activities because they are interested in the material. This will not only benefit students, but also teachers.
High School better prepare their students for the future? One way that we thought of that HHS can better prepare us for the future is adding special career-focused electives. A little bit about how we could choose what electives would be added is through student surveys, and the top 1 or 2 choices would be implemented. The thing that makes these electives special compared to the ones that we already have, such as automotive and video production, is that they would take students to courses that can give them working certificates for a job that have no age restriction. For example, a nail tech or a hairstylist. Another way that we thought of that Healdsburg High School can help prepare students is taking us to visit colleges for jobs. Visiting these 2 places are essential because it helps students see what the typical day in their future could look like. This is a great way to spark interest with students and can even help encourage someone to a certain college if they didn't plan to go to college before.
Another way that students can receive support is by having classes that are specifically dedicated to what to expect from life after high school. For example, most high school students do or will have a job, meaning they will eventually have to pay taxes and pay their bills in the future. However, majority of kids don't know how to do that and won't learn in school. This is a necessary skill that everyone needs to learn, so why aren't we teaching it in school? Another example of an important skill you will need in life is to know how to control your finances. Most high schools do not teach this, and this could be one of the reasons as to why people financially struggle in life, because they don't learn early how to control their finances and manage their money. Solutions to this problem could be having a course that isn't mandatory but is there so that students can feel supported overall in maybe where to buy a house, where can they buy a car, how can they store their money. And when we were interviewing all of the students that we interviewed, almost all of them they claimed that they didn't know what to expect after high school and that they didn't feel supported by the HHS staff and community with how they're going to prepare for after college and college itself.
In the current learning process, there isn't a way for mentally students to level up in their English journey. They are being taught by a computer with adult supervision. From time to time, students get sent out of class to practice English and cut time out of their electives depending on students' schedules. One obstacle students face is not knowing lessons during class. Sometimes teachers are not providing translated versions of their lesson plan or finding a way to communicate with the student. There are occasions where there is zero acknowledgement for the student, but the classwork and homework is expected to be due and complete and turned in on time. I have experienced this myself. When I started kindergarten, I was fluent in Spanish and learning English for the first time. The process was rushed, and the ultimate goal was to learn English as fast as possible. I would be given the same test over and over again that wouldn't challenge me or show growth even after I completely learned English. They still did not allow me to let go of my ELD status. I get frustrated thinking back to the beginning of my journey learning English. I was not acknowledged by my teacher and was left to figure everything out on my own. My teacher would brush me off and focus on students she was able to understand. A memorable moment was when I had intensive ear pain. I began crying and I headed towards the teacher. She then asked me if I could wait because she was teaching and sent me to the corner. The pain increased and I could no longer contain the pain. The teacher told me to be quiet and she grew irritated with my cries and finally called home. The teacher said, another painful memory was being bullied in kindergarten. I was physically assaulted during recess every day because I did not know English. This made me sad and empty. When I was the most vulnerable, I needed someone who was willing to listen
opportunities, but instead I wish that multilingual students are still facing the same discriminations today in schools, and I want to be a voice for them to be heard in the stories I have to teach them.
I will be talking about another student that we interviewed at close to this high school. He got here 2 years ago with the idea of going to the military to be able to arrange papers for his mother. He ended up getting to study at the school because he wasn't of age yet and needed the diploma to join the military. When he joined the school, they had told him that he was going to join a newcomer English class. The name explains the class, but he told me that it's a program that teaches them. They also have worksheets and workbooks. The program has never changed, and he has been here since his freshman year. He is now a junior. He explained the program as having sections. You can choose a section for the first 30 minutes of class. The sections are facing images on a screen, and they repeat them back to English. And then there is another section where there are images where he matches the words to the correct image. I really don't think that they're learning this way because it's just repeating the same program, and he's been here for 3 years. He has told me that they would like to improve the curriculum that has advancements. So a different curriculum that could be online still, but that's the challenge to different words or different vocabulary that they could learn. And he also informed me that they would benefit from more translators. Currently, we only have one translator for 12 students who only speak Spanish. He is not at fault for this because he can't be in 12 places at once. But the students had told me that they would benefit from more translators so that they would be engaged in class, so that they would be learning with the other students, and that they would be actually doing the work. The students feel left out of classes, and I myself have been a translator for one of these students in one of my classes this year. It has become difficult for them to complete work and to turn in things. They ask, what is the teacher saying? What is the assignment? Are we turning something in today? They would really benefit from these translators. During this first semester, we did many different things, such as interviewing students and seeing what we could do to benefit the students' needs. As a group, we came up with solutions for each of these needs and ways we could possibly improve certain situations. Unfortunately, we did not have enough time to gain student support. Continuing this work in the spring semester would allow us to get more student support and find ways to bring our ideas forward. The interviews opened our eyes to struggles that students at HHS face. We all feel that it is important to take information that we learned and act on it. We as a group feel like we built a community where people can tell us their issues and where we can influence change.
Lastly, we would just like to thank you for your attention and let you know that we really value your commitment and you acknowledging our plan of action.
By being here today, we demonstrated our commitment to this project, and we hope that you all understand our goals of providing support for the students and closing the communication gap. Please remember the design team is a group of students who chose to be here today because we're committed to make change and speak for the unheard voices of the Healdsburg High School students.
We need you to take action because Healdsburg High School is the foundation for our future generation.
I have two comments. One is, thank you. Hearing from, hearing from students that are in the trenches, so to speak, from your perspective, not only, you're not just here to complain. Here's some solutions, here's some potential next steps that we, as educators, can do for you, the students. I would invite you to share these with the principal. Look at this over here. And I know he's listening. And perhaps with the department chairs or whatever. I'm not going to design how this gets back into the classroom. But you guys are right on. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I just want to thank you as well. I think it's very courageous of you to come here and share your personal stories and share the stories of the students in the district. We definitely have a conversation. We'll have a conversation about the kind of actions we have. We're really excited to hopefully continue this work. I personally, as a Healdsburg Unified School District student, who went to the school here in Healdsburg, I'm especially really moved by the work that you're doing. And some of the stories that you share are stories that I've loved today here, and obviously we're here to create positive change for the students. And I'm really excited that we have a youth equity project design team. This is the first ever, and I think a lot of great conversations are going to happen. And I think this is a key example for not only our own district, but for the county, because you as students are in the district, and you are a motivation for a lot of the work that we're doing. So thank you for being here, not only as a reminder, but also as a voice for students who might not have the opportunity, maybe because they are working or are having extracurricular activities or even taking care of children at home right now. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I just want to commend all of you because you've done tremendous work. It's super impressive that you've interviewed all of these people and shared your own experiences as well. Really courageous, as Crystal said, just as Crystal said. And I want to encourage you to also think about giving some feedback to our EL master plan, because we are in the process of creating an English learner or master plan for multilingual students. And your experiences and what you shared tonight is really valid and crucial information about our need to make things better for all of you, for all of our students. And I really highly encourage the principals to ask the students to come to your school site, not to fight, because we need to change things up from elementary, right? Foundational too. So we want to make sure that all of our students are feeling heard and seen, and they're actively engaged in rich learning opportunities. So I think it's important for all of us as educators to hear your experiences and the experiences of your peers, so that we can make things better, right? Because we know that life is a continuous improvement process. It's all about making sure that you're making changes for the better. And so this is information for us to really analyze and think about and reflect and think about what we can do to support your initiatives, because they're really rich and powerful. And I just want to commend you for this presentation and just for being so raw and authentic. And I'm just so impressed with all of you.
Thank you.
And please don't make this a one and done. It's okay to come back. We encourage that.
They're making an action plan. We'll be back, right?
We'll be back.
Yeah.
I think, and one last comment as I'm thinking about this right now, but for those who are seniors who want to continue this work, I would really encourage you to run for board. There's going to be some positions opening in about a year. So I think it'd be really cool and just new to have, former students so recently graduated be part of the board and give some feedback and be purpose long.
You guys did a great job. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah, if families, if you came to see your children, you don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting. Don't feel obligated. Si vinieron para ver lo que hicieron en la presentación, pueden salir. No hay presión para quedar.
Can I say this as the parents are leaving? Thank you. Thank you for raising those kids. Appreciate it.
There was a question from the board about Green Hughes, the trainer. So she works with AEP and independently. And as a consultant, we do make this kind of youth every work. So she's working with the district as a consultant. This semester was paid for by Scope.
Chris, I'll go over that in her contract renewal.
Thank you.
Ms. Calhoun, you want to make your way? Yeah.
High school engineering statistics course.
So as it says on the cover sheet, there's no slides for this. We review course sequences and course content annually as part of our continuous improvement process, not continuation, continuous improvement process. We have two courses that have undergone revision. One we're bringing back. So we had an engineering course that we started in 2015. The faculty member that taught that course left the district. And at the time, we didn't have a qualified teacher on staff to keep engineering going. As I said, we now have two. Ms. Bernadette Calhoun, who you heard a shout out to from one of our students, is here tonight to help us better understand both of these courses. So bringing back Project Leading the Way and the Principles of Engineering course that has been on our course offerings previously and now will be hopefully showing up again course selection in January. And then statistics. We've offered statistics for decades. As we know, statistics is a very important math class. It can serve as a third-year math class. It is not an advanced placement class, so it gives opportunity for students who want to take a third or fourth-year math, depending on where they are in the sequence. We're seeing an updated course outline here that includes a strong influence by social justice topics and examining real-world data and applications. And so super excited about both these courses. I'm going to give Ms. Calhoun a couple minutes to provide a little bit more context, and then if you have any questions.
Thank you. I will start with the engineering class. So I am an ex-engineer, software engineer, career change teacher, and taught Project Leading the Way engineering at my previous school. And have a lot of students. I'm in charge of the STEAM club here. I had a lot of students come to me and say, why don't we have engineering anymore? So with Aaron's help, I put together this proposal. This is using an existing curriculum through Project Leading the Way, Principles of Engineering. It's a entry-level engineering course that exposes students to a variety of types of engineering. So they get materials engineering, they get structural engineering, robotics, and programming. So it's a broad approach to a lot of different areas of engineering. And the nice thing is it's completely project-based. So every unit is based on an engineering, what do we call it, kind of a curricular idea, not even a particular type of engineering, and then an entire project is built on top of that. And I know I've heard from the students, like we just heard from Jordan, the kids really do seem to like project-based learning. So it's a great way to do that project-based learning. It also is really neat in that I think it'll allow kids to come in at different times if they're, if they are leaving a class or need to enter from another class, because the projects are very modular. It's a really great way for kids to be able to move a little bit more freely. My passion, as much as I love engineering though, is statistics. So the other course I currently teach here is the statistics course, but I've taken it, I've taken the curriculum and I have built it around several projects.
I've listed them in, I know that's a really long board packet, but to hit some of the highlights of the projects, we take a look at things like the stop and frisk policy in New York City and ask ourselves, have the New York City Police Department actually improved in their stop and frisk policies? Where did the 2016 election go? How did the polls get away from us? Veterans' mental health, how long is the average veteran having to wait to get mental health care? How is that contributing to veteran suicide? Some of them are a little depressing. We look at gerrymandering, what's happening in various states. We do some sampling around gerrymandering. We look at SNAP benefits. Is the amount of money that is given for SNAP benefits actually able to cover a reasonable amount of food for a family in a month, healthy food? So every unit is built around a minimum of one project, usually more than that, up to 3 projects. I would like to continue to do that, and I would like to recognize that in the curriculum design officially, so that we can kind of see, maybe for the students to see that it's really based on real world material. So, do you have any questions? Thank you. Thank you very much.
Please, the board will bring that back on consent next. Thank you, Bernadette. Thank you.
Congratulations on the student today. We're now report. We have a report tonight. We have a PSC report.
So, can you hear me? First of all, thank you again to all the principals who got back to me and I was able to communicate with about their schools. It's an honor to have the position that gets to brag about our students, and so it's a fun way to do that. So we'll start with HES. So just an update on HES, some things that have been going on. Their winter performance is on December 14th in the Smith Robinson Gym here on campus. Students will be performing dances they've been practicing in a specially funded class brought to us by a Diversity in the Arts grant from Corazon Healdsburg, so special thanks to them. And students are making ornaments for the tree, not arguments, ornaments for the tree that was lit in the plaza on December 1st, so it's good community involvement. Moving on to Pitch Mountain campus, on December 5th, they had their winter performance here on campus as well. The PTO finished their kindness giving drive, and the goal was $30,000, so we'll see soon what they ended up raising, but that's a good goal. They also are having a dine and donate next Tuesday at Agave, and 15% of those profits go back towards the school. Spirit Day is this Friday for the holidays. Students are encouraged to wear holiday dress, sweaters, that sort of thing. Moving on to HJH. Their engineering program raised over $1,000 selling projects at the Healdsburg Holiday Market. Their first dance was last week. The concert band is performed in the Raven last week as well. It was a busy week for them. And the Christmas Carol production was put on by HJH Drama. So the entire week they had different things going on presented by their drama classes. So moving on to Healdsburg High School. The band performs Friday at the Raven Theater, so I encourage you all to attend. It's a fun event. And there's quite a few students performing from all different clubs, all different areas on Healdsburg High School. The Rebits, which is the Redwood Empire Invitational Basketball Tournament, has happened this last 2 weeks. It takes quite a lot to put that on. It takes a lot of teachers and staff, so thank you to all of you who participated in that. And it's a big source of pride for our students. We had a Rebit rally on last Friday, and we were able to actually incorporate students from a basketball team from Arcata into our rally because they had been there for the entire tournament and they weren't about to drive 4 hours home and then 4 hours back the next day for another game. So
they were able to hang out with us and see kind of the campus and how our students act. And so that was a great thing to incorporate them with, because I think we have a lot of spirit surrounding REVIT, especially within our own school. So it was interesting to be able to see that. From FFA, the Future Farmers of America Club, they had their sectional speaking contest at St. Mary High School recently, and we had many place winners, many of which in Creed and Spanish-speaking Creed, which, if you're not familiar with what Creed is, it's a speaking contest for freshmen. So it's your first year in high school, and you go up in front of a bunch of adults and you recite something that you've memorized, and then you answer personal questions on it. So it's a very difficult competition, and we had multiple people who placed in it, so that's something that we should be proud of. And as well in FFA, we had our Butte College Welding and Fabrication Contest. So our team of 4 students that I was part of went down to Butte College, and we were able to work on over 5 or 6 different CNC and computerized machines. We learned all about them. We learned how to use different plasma cutters and things that we don't necessarily have access to practice with here in Healdsburg. And it was a very fun event, and there was a contest involved, which Healdsburg won first in. So it was very fun, and that concludes my trustee report. Are there any questions?
Just a quick clarification, the concert's tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night at the Raven College.
Yeah, with the junior high and high school being at 7:15, right after the HES concert, or the HES holiday celebration. So, busy night tomorrow night.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
No report. I would like to announce, since we're in the school spirit, that the alumni students who took soccer for Healdsburg Unified will be having a game on December the 2nd, making fun for current soccer players. Yeah, so there's a fee for alumni students to play. There's going to be 2 games, one at 5 and one at 7. For the recommend that you go, those are your former students, your principal. But yeah, exciting. It's on December 22nd. Is it here? Yeah, here.
Just a quick report. I am the former president was at the CSDA conference, and we talked about it and closed a bit, but a couple things that I was very excited about, very interested in. A couple of sessions I went to were about board governance and how we can do our job better and get a better place so we can do our job better to assist the school district and certainly educating the kids better. Also, there was one session which I liked was about the arts, and it was interesting that people talk about bringing the arts to class, into the classroom, into the schools, and the physical arts, the theater, the choir, etc. It was interesting conversation because I was at the community choir yesterday, and they were the director was saying, "It'd be great if we had high school, junior high school choirs. We're not the principals and the teacher knows how to teach that, so he needs to do the same to the teacher." Anyway, it's just great getting the arts into the schools, and I know there's money available, and it's great funded. And then I think the last thing is that we talk about, but I don't have any knowledge about this, it's technology, is AI. And one of us, it's here. I know it's here, and I just remind you all, if you don't see it, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, when Facebook was founded, it was just a little thing for people to get together and to talk to each other, and now look what it's become, and beyond, and beyond, and beyond. And that's kind of what I see AI as now. It's going to get to know it, and all of a sudden it's going to be whatever it is. I'm not sure what even know at this point. But it was interesting. So keep more. Board member next to me, you'll probably be watching it. I won't be able to. It was a very interesting conference. It was great to be around board members, etc.
Okay. Thanks, sorry, caught me off guard. So as you saw, this pilot first iteration of our youth design team has gone very well. And so we had a contract just for this first part for the fall. Partly because we do have some work to do, as we heard, in supporting our English language learners and other students. The Sonoma County Office of Education, as part of their support to us, has agreed to pay for the contract for this current work that you just saw tonight. And so the financial obligation to the district was zero for this work, thanks to the Sonoma County Office of Ed. I think we can all agree we want this process to continue. So what you have before you now in discussion, and then we would put it on the consent agenda the following month, is to continue our agreement, this time directly with Karina Hugh. So Karina was the young person who did not speak, and that's kind of how she rolls, right? She's the behind the scenes and making things happen and empowering these students. So we'd like to directly contract with Karina rather than through a Costa Educational Partnership. That's a mutual agreement with AEP and Karina. So it's a contract extension directly with Karina, and we will continue to hear good things and hopefully help these students change the way we provide school. So any questions about the contract or the work? Like I said, it's a discussion item tonight, and then we would put it on, this discussion, thank you, yeah, on consent. Yeah, she's a subcontractor with Acosta right now for us. What we're proposing here is that we would contract directly, and that's mutually agreeable with AEP. She, it's about once a month, and for anywhere from 4 to 8 hours. So we're trying to, as you heard, limit the amount of school that they're missing, and the students have been really great about it. So for example, the first Monday of Thanksgiving break, as the student shared, every single one of them showed up. And so, yeah, it's great. So we designed the schedule for the spring to do some similar things, take advantage of some of our break days, and shortened days, so they meet like on a Wednesday when they get out early and then go a little bit longer. So we're trying to be very careful that these students' academics aren't impacted by participating. So it's about once a month for 48 hours, 4 to 8 hours at a time. Consultant. Yeah, it's Karina Hugh LLC, is her business name, and she's done this work. She's actually been recognized by Harvard School of Education. She won an award doing this design work. She was schooled at Stanford and made a name in helping schools open up in that region using the design process that Stanford has kind of made a name for. So yeah, I feel like we're really lucky. The other nice thing is she's local-ish. She lives in Oakland, and so she could be up here in an hour rather than having to get on an airplane. So it's been really nice to have somebody who's only an hour away. It's all in person. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Everything's in person. Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah, they got lasagna from Big John's for dinner tonight, and we brought in lots of yummy teenager type food while we're working.
I would just point out that the contract starts December 13th. I'm assuming it's going to pass in January.
Yeah. Mutually agreeable.
I do have a question, Erin. So they consented today their plan of action. So would they be working in action in the fall semester?
Yeah, so it's a two-tiered approach. So it's continuing to gather information with a wider group of students and in different forums. So they didn't do a survey. They really focused on empathy interviews, and they interviewed over 50 students. So I know they would like to do a survey where they try to survey every single student in the building. So it's developing the survey. So the two-tiered approach is continuing to gather information from a wider group of students, while also supporting the implementation of their ideas.
And the idea that we are
So, well, my impression was today was more of a status update talking about reading and that they're going to make a more direct action plan in the second semester.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, so for example, you know, we're just discussing here some of the ideas around detention, some of the ideas around brain breaks, right? There's easy wins, right? And then there's things that may take time and training and money. And so I think that it's a both and, that there may be items that I can work with Francisco Enriquez, our principal, and others in the high school building and in that district writ large, to your point, Trustee Wilma Flores, about, you know, it's not just work at the high school. And I will say, my dream and the conversations that I've had with Karina is that this isn't just a high school initiative. When we first started talking about this, we wanted to have a 6 through 12 design team. Felt hard to do with the junior high kids given the timeline. So the idea would be, this is a multi-year effort, right? This isn't a one and done in 1 year, and that we would begin to grab some of the younger kids at the junior high as early as this summer, but that some of the interviews and some of the data gathering would be happening with the younger students possibly in the spring. So again, we're talking probably a 3-year process for this design team, and you'll see it's heavily stacked with 9th and 10th graders and just a couple of 11th and 12th graders, with the idea is that we want them to be here to kind of see this through.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that they're going to be putting in their work for us, and that they're going to be that we will support them.
And it's timely. We've been talking a lot, right? We're about to go through the accreditation process at the high school. So we'll be starting the self-study in January. So this information will be used as part of the self-study for the WASC accreditation of the high school. We're also about to kick off LCAP. And this certainly is part of our, you know, input sessions for informing the LCAP and other planning documents for the next couple of years.
I would also wish to send the proposed meeting schedule and communities back how often, how long it's going to be.
Sure, I can produce that tomorrow for you. Yeah, we have it. It's just not in the packet. Yeah. Yeah, and to your point, I also want to recognize publicly that this information will be used to finalize the Yale Master Plan that you'll have a first read for in January. So Karina and the team will be providing written information based on this presentation, and that will, you have my word, that will be incorporated into the Yale Master Plan that we'll have a first read for in January.
Also worth mentioning that we really have back and forth with the kids, that some of what they talked about, we already have some information that they're addressing the needs and talking about.
We started the school year with 5 newcomers. We now have 14. We have 2 new enrollers. So started with 5. Yeah, that's
I think, yeah, I think I know we're not discussing that right now, but I was looking for the more stories from those
Yeah, so they left to go with their families to have a little both celebration reception and also closing circle. So part of them leaving was to continue that dialogue with their families present. So there would be some recognition of their work, and also Karina's leading them in a closing community circle with their families right now. It is, and that's why we've got 3 cameras here working hard tonight, so we can excerpt this, we can reuse, yeah. Yes. Yeah, big reason why we've got this production that we normally don't have in this room. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thanks for your encouragement and commitment to this process.
could do that, Bob.
Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, this first slide is showing you the budget cycle and where we are at this time. We just finished a lot of actuals, midway through shares in September, and now we are here at the first interim. Reminder of what the first interim is. It's a budget report, just a snapshot in time. It's based on what we know at this time, and it covers the time period of July 1 through October 31. And that's very important in this interim report because we started negotiations this year on November 2nd. So negotiations and the settlement that is coming to you tonight is not included in this first interim report. So I just want to be real clear about that. So what's changed? Well, we had a huge swing. Projected income, actual those are ending balances, we had a difference, a swing of 3.2 million, leaving us a reserve of 27.17 when I presented the actuals. Why such a big swing? It's a combination of things. Mostly is the change of revenues. Property taxes coming in much higher. And we got substantial donations from HEP. We didn't budget any of them. We don't budget them until we actually receive them. And the new transportation reimbursement that came in at $207,000 was a big revenue bump as well. Expenditures were much lower, mostly in special ed. We had a big drop in OPEBs. We didn't need to do a contribution to food service, which we always put in the budget just in case. And I collected indirect costs in all the categoricals, which this district hasn't always done. And with all the COVID funding and all the categoricals we have now, that was substantial amount of money as well.
OPEB is post-employment benefits, so health benefits to retirees. That dropped by about $500,000.
So here's a look at the general fund. The first column being the original budget, then where we're at first interim, and the last column being the variance. So as you can see that this is spelling out what I just spoke about, the revenues. We've increased them quite a bit based on how the taxes came in at the end of 22-23. We're still only supposed to be budgeting property taxes at 50% for county office. And we bumped them quite a bit, actually 100% for the first reporting period in January, and then 80% in June. So that's quite a big increase in revenues at first interim. And we have a decrease of an increase of over 400,000 in expenditures, and almost all of that is in salaries. The positions that we have created and filled in 23-24 that were not in the original budget. As the budget stands right now, we're projected to finish the year at 23.4%. So here's a look at the multi-year, which is basically another look at what I'm speaking to. As you can see in 23-24, I budgeted again for 50,000 for food service if necessary. We have a $3.9 million encroachment. That's special ed. For negative spending net for the year, this is unrestricted only at 647,000, but that's still leaving us with a balance of 3.9. And as you can see at this time, that will grow across the years. But remember that's the first step. So here's a look showing you the net for the year. Fund 1 balance, Fund 17 balance, and the combined balance. Over the 3 years, with the between 23.4, 25.77, and 28.9.
what's new at the first time around. I think I pretty much covered this, but we increased property tax projections, state and local revenues, increase in expenditures with the salaries and benefits. We've increased the footprints of housing, special ed. And actually, special ed encroachment would be higher at secondary because we've got more activity since this was written. So in summary, revenues are conservative, expenses are conservative. Estimated unrestricted 3.8 million, restricted 3.4, with resource student at 23.4. All facilitation. Okay, this is what it really is. So this is moving forward, and mind you, these are not exact dollars. There's none of it has been approved yet, approved the system. I haven't got exact dollars. But your 10.5 salary increase, I'm predicting from 23-24 we'll still end with a 16.19 reserve, 12.3 is 24-25, and still 9.58 is 25.6. Which I think is very healthy with the size salary increase we're doing. The 10.5 salary increase is approximately $2 million. And that covers all of it. So at the bottom you see before the salary increase by 23.4, and it goes to 16 million, which is still not easy. And still above the board. So what's next? I will work the numbers, do the 1200s. I will submit them to Sonoma County Office of Education for approval. Once approved, I will bring them in January for the board to approve them with all the salary increase schedules. And the January budget, and the staff projections for 24-25. The second annual report due in March. And it's still wisely, we use one-time funds. We have about 5 buckets of COVID funds, categoricals, that need to be used by September 30, 24. And we're on track to spend all of them. Those are all things that I'd like to where we were with those. Uncertainties continue to be the impact of property taxes and cash flow.
I'm going to add an uncertainty. There's the potential state legislative and Linda's office came out with a pretty poor view of the state economy for next year. Huge deficit, I remember. So there is talk about education being hit. Now, we would not get reductions as drastically as most districts that are not funded by the state. However, there is a possibility of some categorical problems being diminished or taken away completely. So that's something that we can focus on.
And those dollars and categoricals are not in my current budget. I'm not budgeting until we're getting them. Because that already affected us last year. And we were totally getting so we have plans to spend the money over the next few years, but we don't have the dollars in the budget. Is there any questions? This is just a regular budget calendar, and this just kind of brings you through the year where we're at with the budget. There's no real changes, except we will be doing a LCAP update in February. We did it a couple years ago, we didn't have to do it last year, but it's back this year. Everything else is currently in this is an action.
So,
One second.
This is a resolution for the accounting of developer fees. Attached to it in the developer fee report, actually, that's the wrong one, actually. This shows you developer fee action for 22-23. We collected over $254,000. We spent very little, $12,000 for this master plan. And we currently have $1.2 million as our ending balance as of June 30th. We also need to do a 5-year report, which is attached to this, that shows you the activity in this fund over the past 5 years. And you can see there that we haven't made a big contribution since 1920, which was the William Roberts begin. We are planning on making a contribution to the HES construction project moving forward. I think it might be more than a year out, depending on a lot of things to go through. And then I also wanted to mention that we are in the process of doing a new development study and getting all the information to School Works and City Department. And I'm expecting to have a report on it.
President Flores, Vice President Clerk Lopez, Trustee Lopez Varga, Trustee Thompson, Student Trustee.
The FDA for 2023.
Tentative agreement for 10.5% retroactive raise for July 1st. Once again, this is a 10.5% raise retroactively to July 1st of the current year, and we will have it consolidated in January. This is for the teachers. Yeah. Actually, there's a lot of language in there too about different changes to the contract.
I'll second.
To give you an update where we're at now. First, I wanted to acknowledge John Chevalier, who happens to be here tonight, who has been working as our safety coordinator and our trainer. He's been working with all the sites and staff, hard with trainings that will be coming up in January. We'll be doing an evacuation drill of all the sites on January 8th, which is a professional development day. And John is stealing all of that. He's been working with all the site admin. With that, we have updated emergency bags, reviewing all the documents and the safety plan, which is very cumbersome. A lot of documents. All the sites have updated all their maps, earthquake drills, ICS forms. Continue our alert trainings. We've been offering alert trainings for over 2 years now. To date, we only have 17 staff members that are trained. It's hard to get them to take the training, but we're working on it. It's been offering them often, and we'll continue to work with them. John's met with the Healdsburg Police Department and prepping for the evacuation drills in January. And both the police department and the fire department will be attending the drills. And working with us on those. And we're also working with the Healdsburg Police Department with a communication system called Tango Tango, which is a push-to-talk radio where we can use our control channel on the radio that will go directly to their cell phone. So that's something in the works right now that both John and Bob Smith are working on. Any questions? I think it's a combination of things. Part of it being the days are so long now. They need like 2 to 3 hours, at least 2. So we try to offer on the days, we offer on busy days, but the calendars are full. Rob would pay hourly for them to come, but we just have to get people to come.
Very, very, very positive feedback from the people that have attended, and they'll send out all staff emails and everything. I mean, we could if we took PD time, or like a regular PD vote to do it, right? And there's just so many.
Okay, this is the, lease this back to the GMP for the campus project. Sorry. This is, we're trying to get this approved so we can order the HVAC equipment right away because it's going to take some time to come in. This is working with FRC, who's doing our project at FNC. FRC at FNC. That was right. And it's coming in at 5.5 million. Is there any questions on this?
Hello. All right. So we're going to take my time to review everything with you. So we're here for a half hour or so.
8 minutes.
Is everybody? Okay, so for the first item, the certificated seniority list. This is the first read. So this is currently out at all sites right now for all of our teachers to review to make sure that they have a chance to review their credentials and their assignment and make sure everything is accurate. And if there's any changes, I will be able to make any changes by the time the final, I'm really not trying to take longer. The final one comes to you in January. So this is the first read. Do you guys have any questions regarding this seniority list? All right, thank you. Move on to item 3. This is the classified seniority list. And we have 2 actually. We have the one by class classification, and then we have one that's a little easier for the employees to look at. That's alphabetical. And same thing, it's out at sites right now for our staff members to review it and make sure that they are listed correctly. And if there's anything incorrect, they can let me know, and I'll have time to make their changes before the January the final action. Any questions? Well, thank you.